Hi, so I think we are live. Laurie, it's good to see you over in Namibia.
Great to see you too. Great to see you.
Oh,
wish you were here.
I'm so, yeah, I'd say literally the last person I saw before I left Namibia and came back for lockdown was you. So I'm pining to be there.
I'm glad I'm here and not in lockdown where you are. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. So obviously this evening's very exciting. We're going to be sharing the winners of the competition and getting your feedback on the images. But I just thought before we did that to start with, it would be great if you could actually just tell us a little bit what is happening in lockdown in Namibia where you are. How are the cheetahs there? You know, what are you guys up to?
Well, Namibia is all the way closed. So right after you left, the whole country closed down, as did most of the world. So for tourism, it's very sad. All of our tourism facilities really have nobody there. This has been for 2 months, which is, Namibia really revolves around community-based conservation. And with that, we've had several calls for cheetahs. So just in the last month, we've had 2 cheetahs that have come in from the wild, and we've collared them, and they're going to go out back into the wild in the next few days, which is, again, good and bad. So we're sorry that they came in, but we're glad that we're working with our ministry able to put them back out into the wild.
Why did they come in?
They were caught in a game-fenced farm catching wildlife, and we actually have more problems with some of the game farmers than we do livestock farmers. Of course, with livestock farmers, we work so closely with them on looking at human-wildlife conflict mitigation tools, like the livestock guarding dogs, for instance, which are so very important. But from that, we are constantly trying to help people realize that if we didn't have high game fences, that all of the wildlife and the cheetahs could even live in harmony together. But as soon as you put up these game fenced farms, and we've just come out of a 3-year horrible drought here in Namibia, that a lot of wildlife is also struggling in the game fenced farms because they were overgrazed as well. So every time we do different things as humans, we end up kind of messing things up. And in the cheetah's habitat in Africa, the game fence farming is something that is a part of what we deal with, but we work very closely with those farmers as well to try to help them realize that that's what the cheetah is supposed to be eating. And with livestock farmers, obviously, we work with trying to get them to practice good livestock management practices. And in Namibia, with conservancies that we have here, which is where landowners work together with neighboring landowners, and the animals, the wildlife, all range freely. And then if you have enough grazing land and protect your livestock, predators like the cheetah can live within the system. So all of those play an important mix, and that's why we continue to work with farmers in what we call our Future Farmer of Africa program. Right. But we're glad that we have such a good government here. Our government has been very supportive and works very closely with us in these conflict issues.
Right. So one of the things I learned about when I came to visit that I'm very excited that we're going to be supporting with funds from Remembering Cheetahs is something you mentioned a little bit earlier, which is, I'm just going to add a picture onto this stream, which is this. So tell us about this little one and what's special about this little dog.
Well, we've had in the last 2 months 2 litters of puppies born. So this is one of the puppies from one of the first, actually the first litter, Kafiki, and he is soon, within the next 2 weeks, going to go out and be one of the next livestock guardians. So we place these puppies when they're at about 10 weeks of age. They're born in our goat yard, and in the last 25 years, we've actually bred and placed about 650 livestock guarding dogs with our rural farming communities. So the dogs grow up with the small stock goats and sheep, and they act as the guardian. They bark loudly. They alert other predators, which predators don't really want to just come in and eat your livestock. I think people around the world think that predators are just wanton livestock killing animals, and they're really not. They're looking for a free, easy meal. And from that, what the livestock guarding dogs do is they basically say, I'm big and I'm here. And if you're going to deal with my livestock, you're going to have to deal with me. And the predators will stay away. So there's a lot of avoidance that goes on. And we find with the farmers that have the livestock guarding dogs that they will actually have between an 80 to 100% reduction in livestock loss. Amazing. If they have a livestock guarding dog. And that's huge. Yeah. And then obviously, if you practice other livestock management practices, you shouldn't have any livestock loss. But I think that the dogs kind of think that we're a little bit smarter than their goats and sheep. But sometimes I think they really wonder about us.
Yeah, I have to say, when I saw this picture, I was so frustrated that I left, just before this came along. I can't believe I missed meeting these. But I think one of the things I learned as well is you don't actually give the guarding dogs for free to the farmers, do you? So you charge a nominal sum because it gives them more value. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, a very nominal fee. Because in the beginning, when we started the program 25 years ago, we said, oh, yes, we'll just donate the dog. But actually, if the people are invested, they're going to take much better care of the animal. And we put a lot of training. We work with the farmers on an annual basis. Obviously, when the puppies are young, we spend 3 months, 6 months, 12 months constantly working with the farmers to make sure that the dogs grow up appropriately and that the farmers are practicing the best livestock management that they can. And so this minor fee actually assists, just really, it's more psychological than it is anything else. But
yeah, and how do you ensure that the dogs are actually looked after properly and are treated with care?
Well, we have staff that's on the road all the time. And right now we have over 200 puppies, dogs, big dogs, that were puppies at one point, that are working. And so, as I said, our staff, when we place the dogs at about 10 to 12 weeks of age, and then we do pre-approval. So we go to the farmer beforehand. We put the farmers through a lot of training, and then we check on them on a regular basis. And so our staff is totally engaged in working together with the farmer to make sure that the dogs are raised properly, cared for properly, fed properly, and vaccinated, and doing all the right things. And after 25 years, the farming community is very well versed, I think, in working with us. And we've got about a 2-year waiting list. So we are constantly trying to bring in new bloodlines, and we will only have 1 litter of puppies a year from a breeding female. But it's a big job and a lot of work, just spending our time working with the farmers. But by working with the farmers, we're not only helping save cheetahs within the cheetahs ecosystem, we're saving all the other predators as well. So, cheetahs are leading the way in trying to work with people in reducing human-wildlife conflict. Okay. And farmers, I know a lot of the beautiful pictures that you all get to see in the books all about, many of them are actually done in game reserves, but throughout the cheetahs range, about 80% of all the remaining cheetahs are found outside of protected areas. And so, the world's population of cheetahs today is about 7,100 individuals, and the majority of those are not in protected areas. There you can get beautiful pictures, which I'm always very jealous of because I work in the conflict zone trying to keep them out where they live, where we can grow the numbers, that if we can work with the people, we can make more cheetahs.
Okay, great. Well, I'm really excited to be able to support that program. And I have to say that, this competition, I won't keep everyone waiting too much longer, and we're about to start revealing. This competition actually raised more than £11,000 just through entry fees from people, wanting to get in the book. And obviously we sent you some money immediately from that just to get funds rolling, even though the book's not out yet. So that's, you know, it's brilliant that this competition can raise money so quickly and help, you know, exactly the species that we're looking after.
Well, the pic is going to be so beautiful. Everyone's so excited. So
yeah. No, so right, just before I show the first image, I just want to say some thank you. So thank you to everyone who entered this competition. To say your entry money has really been put to good use, and it's one of you. You made our jobs impossible. There were so many beautiful pictures. It was horrible to have to narrow it down even to 100, and then to get it to 10. The judges were all arguing between themselves. It was very difficult. So to everyone who hasn't got a place, I want to say I'm so sorry. I really wish I could have included you too, but please know that at least your entry fees have helped programs like this that we're talking about. Our judges were Niall Hampton of Digital Camera magazine, and the winning images we showed tonight will be in that magazine tomorrow when it hits the newsstands. Wildlife photographer Susan Esterhaas, who I know that actually you know well, Laurie. She's spent time with you. Gordon Buchanan, the TV presenter, who actually has been shooting earlier this year a new show, Cheetah Family and Me, which is going to show in the UK in December at Christmas. So that should be a good one to look out for. And then my editorial team, so Lorna Dockrell, our editor, and Eddie Ephraim's our art director. So thank you to all of them. Lastly, just if anyone's watching and you feel inclined, you can actually share this broadcast. Then it will start streaming live on your own Facebook page as well, which will get the numbers up. So if you're prepared to do that, we'd be grateful. Otherwise, the broadcast will sit there on Facebook after we've ended. So I have a beautiful helper called Rachel in the background. Rachel, can I ask you to flick on to the first winning image for me so I can see that on your screen right now? Okay, yeah, so I can see that, and I am going to make it full screen. There are some names, not this first one, but some names I'm not quite sure how to pronounce, so I apologise if I say anyone's name wrong. But this first particular winner, I do know his name, and in fact I know him, and it's this one. It's Andy Howe.
wow.
So congratulations, Andy. So yeah, Laurie, can you tell us a little bit, what are we looking at here? How old do we think these cheetah cubs are?
Oh, they're just beautiful. Look at that. There's 6 of them. So their mother is actually spectacular. The fact that she's been able to raise that many cubs to this age. And I would say they're probably about 3 months of age. You can see that mantle that's down their back. Cheetah cubs are really special with that mantle. And it's actually thought to be a bit of a mimicry to help them look like they are like a honey badger is what the thought was. The other thing might be for some sun shading to help protect them from the hot sun. But just to be able to raise 6 cubs like this is just amazing. Quite often, we see a high infant mortality with cubs because of other large carnivores or injuries that can occur. Because before this time, these cubs are following behind their mother at this point in time. But prior to that, the first 6 weeks is really vulnerable for cubs because they're in the den and the mother has to go out and hunt. The mother is still hunting on a daily basis for these cubs, and they look like they're waiting patiently for wherever she has gone. And they will wait for her to make a kill, and then she'll usually chirp to them, and they'll come running, and she'll be able to feed them.
Okay. Why are they? I always wondered this. They're obviously very well behaved because they are all kind of staying in a huddle together, even though they're out. They're not all wandering off in different directions. Is that just instinct, or has their mother had a word with them before she went out? Why do they do that?
Well, I think it's probably a bit of both. So yes, there is an instinct, but the mom is definitely, there's communication. Animals do communicate. And she knows that she's got to go off and hunt. And they have to stay where they are. Of course, they are also very vulnerable, even at this age, from things like eagles coming down or lions or hyenas. So hopefully she's put them in a very safe place. So when she's out hunting, they will be okay. It looks like she's done a good job.
Okay, so an eagle would take one?
Well, they're a little bit bigger, but when they're still little, under 6 weeks, eagles actually can when they're crawling around. them up and fly away with them. So yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right.
They're
So
very, very valuable. So
yeah, congratulations, Andy. And Rachel, can you now please click us on to the next image?
Oh.
So this is Benoit Bussard. And I think the judges all just love the poignancy of this image. And I thought it might be interesting if you could talk us through, because obviously this is a very good shot of the classic teardrop that cheetahs have. Absolutely. Why do they have that?
Well, the theory being that the teardrop, also called a Malheur stripe, is there to help refract the sun's glare and also acts like a sight is on a gun. I mean, the cheetah is actually, is a hunter, and the way that it does hunt. I mean, just imagine going 70 miles an hour, 110 kilometers per hour. And when you're running like that and hunting, the tear marks, it's believed to help keep the prey right between those tear marks. So when a cheetah is running, you'll see their body's going full speed, but their head never moves. When it fixes onto its prey, that it's believed, that those tear marks help them as a hunter would, just focus totally on the
almost
prey.
like blinkers that just keep
just like blinkers.
Right.
But then also, football players or soccer players, they put black under their eyes.
Yeah.
And it helps refract the sun's glare as well. And so, I mean, if there's any kids watching, I always tell kids at schools, just, put a little black under your eye and then go out and see what it does, not only looking in the sunlight, but also how it helps you focus. And that's exactly how it's been built there for the cheetah. Of course, there's some African tales about how the cheetah got its spots and its tear marks. And of course, the tear marks would have, with these African tales, come from crying because the cheetah didn't know if it was a dog or a cat, and nobody really liked it. Ended up being its only genus the only species in the genus of Acinonyx. So there's many lovely stories about that as well. But this is a beautiful, beautiful picture showing that lovely tear mark.
Yeah, definitely. So congratulations to Benoit. Okay, Rachel, you could take us on to the next one, please. Okay, so let's make this. So this is Ben Cranke. Sorry if I put the surname correctly. I think actually, all three of these first three have been taken in the Masai Mara. It's very recognizable for people who've been there. So tell us what's going on here. I thought it was leopards that climbed trees, not cheetahs.
Well, if you look at that tree, it's not the straight up tree that you would often see a leopard in. But cheetahs do use trees. They're marking areas. They're also for visual. And so oftentimes we'll find cheetahs up in koppies and rock areas. But in trees like this, they will climb up in, and then they can see far and wide. Now, cheetahs have great eyesight. And so when you get higher up, you can see them that much further, allowing you to actually see where the next prey would be or where maybe other predators are as well. And so, the cheetahs are very special. Remember, cheetahs have dog-like claws. Their claws are semi-non-retractable, which makes them very difficult in climbing a tree. The cubs' claws are much sharper, but the adults are very dog-like. I mean, they're not sharp. And so the way that they do jump into that tree, it's usually sloping. And I bet the cheetah's going to keep going and get up in that crook up there and could even sit and then look out from all areas. And that looks like a great vantage point for where the cheetah can see. Yeah. They say cheetahs can see up to like 2 miles away, where we would need to use binoculars to have that kind of vision as well. So
would that be a similar vision to binoculars then? So if I'm looking through a pair of binoculars, that's how good the cheetah's vision is?
Absolutely. Right. And so they can see far. Their eyesight up close often is not that good. And then you put that long vision sight, and then the fact that they're going 70 miles an hour is very, very unique as they're also hunting, because they have to have a focus when they get close enough to their prey to be able to, trip it. And so it's just amazing that cheetahs are always looking. They're an animal that believes in flight versus fight. So they're not a fighting animal. They're always looking out for danger, and then they will run away if they possibly can. That flight aspect, because they don't have anything big and powerful and strong that would allow them to be able to fight away other predators. So for their speed, they've gotten rid of their long teeth and big thick bones. So nothing on the cheetah is actually a fighting animal, really. All they have is that speed and the eyesight that's there as well. So they're an amazing animal and very important to these grassland ecosystems in which they live, because they feed all of the rest of the animals that are out there that are carnivorous.
Yeah, they're amazing. And I think it's worth noting in this picture that there is a lilac-breasted roller off to the left, which the judges felt really made this picture special. And that's probably the most photographed bird in Africa. Everyone always loves to get a shot of that. So to get a shot of one of those with a cheetah just artfully on this beautiful tree is just fantastic. So really thrilled to be able to include this in the book.
Good work, Ben.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, I'm going to hide his name. So, Rachel, if you could please take us on to the next image. Okay.
Whoa!
So this is by Ben Cranke. Oh, no, sorry. It's Bertus. Sorry, Bertus Venter. It's the next one. So, so this is taken in Etosha, so in Namibia, your home country. I was recently there and didn't see anything as close to this, so I was incredibly jealous. And I remember seeing the comments from the photographer saying that he'd spent something like 33 years hoping for this shot, and eventually it came along. So how unique is this?
Oh, it's very unique. Not only are there only a handful of cheetahs that live in Etosha, why the cheetahs going through the pan? So Etosha National Park is actually one of the largest national parks in all of Africa. And yet with it, about 80% of it is this the pan, which is really a salt pan that when it rains, it gets about like knee deep, but it's very salty, and that flamingos come in here. But this is probably right off of an area where the cheetahs in the plains area do and are often seen. And so again, Bertus, who I do know, and it's just amazing that he was able to pick something like this up. Seeing a cheetah in Etosha is really, really rare. They are very, very low in numbers. As I said, here in Namibia, about 90% of our cheetahs, more than 90% plus, are found outside of protected areas. So this is more special than you would even know. And I mean, you can just look at that stark landscape, and there's this beautiful cheetah wandering through it.
Yeah, so I shouldn't feel so bad that I didn't see one on my first visit then.
No.
Yeah, no, it is stunning, and it's just the most beautiful picture. Even, understanding the context makes it more special, but you imagine this in the book, it's going to be completely stunning. So yes, I'm thrilled to be able to include it, and congratulations to Bertus. Okay, so Rachel, can you take us on to the fifth image, please? Okay. So this image is by Dee. Again, I'm not sure of the surname. Roelofsz. I think I've even seen a comment coming up from her on the Facebook feed, so I believe she's watching. So congratulations to Dee. I have to say this was a real favourite with the judges. We all just loved it. I believe it was taken in a reserve in South Africa. So yeah, tell us your thoughts on this one, Laurie.
Well, just the color contrast with the cheetah, and this cheetah's got a very dark spot pattern. Right. Of course, cheetahs have all spots, but their spotting is different. And that's how we identify cheetahs, actually, is through their different spots and how they're patterned. But this is a dark cheetah, is what I would say, which means it's got a lot of black spots within it, which makes it look much darker than some of the others I think that we've seen. But then the dark tear marks that are there too, they're very thick and dark. This cat's probably, I bet, maybe 1.5 to 2 years, a young animal. It's not a big adult. And just in the coloration of those flowers is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Looking for something out there. Of course, cheetahs are always looking. So. Yeah,
no, for sure. Okay, yeah. So congratulations to Dee, and we're thrilled to be able to include this image, a real favourite with the judges. Okay, Rachel, if you can take us on to the next one, please. Okay.
Wow.
So the surname of this photographer might be familiar to some of you, and there's a good reason why. So in the judging process, we don't actually know the name of the photographer. It's only when we've chosen our 10 that I then go back in and start seeing the names when we're pulling all the information we need. So Francesco Veronesi is actually the father of Federico Veronesi, a photographer who's worked with us a lot in our books. And Federico actually had the cover of the Lions book and also the Elephant book in year 1. So talent obviously runs in the family because, again, I absolutely loved this picture of the print, and just the color of the light is amazing. So yeah, give us your thoughts on this. You're talking about mothers being good with cubs. These cubs look even a bit older than the Andy Howe ones, don't they?
They do, yeah. And again, the fact that she's been able to keep them alive is just amazing. So she's looking, she's hunting. Female cheetahs are always on the lookout, not only for food to feed. I mean, imagine feeding 6 mouths. Those cubs probably at about, I bet they're about 5 months of age. They've lost their mantle. They're lost quite a bit of it at that point in time. By the time they're about 6 months, the mantle's pretty much gone, just a bit of what we call small mane on their shoulders. But she's looking because she's got to feed those 6 mouths. And she's done a great job of getting into that age. But also she's looking for, predators. So a female cheetah is constantly, I mean, they're just the most amazing animals, female cheetahs. How they raise their young, they love their cubs. When they hunt, the cubs get to eat first. The female cheetah is spending her time trying to raise that next litter. So we see in many of the different areas where the cheetahs are actually carefully watched. And I think this probably is in the Masai Mara. Do you know?
Yes, yeah, it was Masai Mara.
And they're actually, our colleagues have been studying the cheetahs there, know each one of them by name and spot pattern. And what we're also doing in collaboration with our partners up in the Masai Mara is that they actually are collecting scat from those animals, and that allows us to actually do DNA extraction, and we're coming up with the lineages of the population there in the Masai Mara. So I think that I know a lot more about the scat in the population and who they might be related to. But to be able to watch a female raise her litter of cubs like this is unbelievable. So again, we call these super moms that are able to raise a litter like this.
Yeah, they're great. And I think actually when you're talking about the researchers in the Mara that we had a discussion the other day, obviously Elena, who many people know, she's out there doing research and sending you scat. We have also given her some support in the last month, given that there aren't as many tourist vehicles out in the Mara right now, keeping an eye on all the animals and stopping poachers from going in. We felt it was particularly important. So we've given Elena a donation for her fuel, and she's out and about kind of doing regular updates and keeping an eye on the cheetahs for us as well, which is great.
Well, Francisco, I know I'll learn more about these animals genetically as well, but that picture is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Okay, right. I'm going to hide that name. So, Rachel, if you could please take us on to the next image. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
So this is Vogt, a name familiar to me from Facebook, and I'm sure lots of you. So once again, I mean, unmistakably, this is the Masai Mara. And we've got 5 cheetahs there. I'm not sure if that's actually the 5 brothers that lots of us are following or another family. I'll find out later, no doubt. But yeah, those landscapes and the contrast of that landscape to Etosha, I think, is quite remarkable, isn't it, Laurie? Just to understand that cheetahs can survive in many different places.
Absolutely. But and these short grass plains are important to them, but they're also found in thick and bushed areas as well. So they're an adaptable cat. And actually, are there only 5 or are there 6 there? So
I can only see 5, I think.
Okay. I was just wondering if there's another one up on the mound near the one on the mound here. But
I don't know. We'll have to zoom in later and have a look.
Right. And Fred can fill us in on the story about those cats. But if you look at that storm going on there too, and all these cats in different directions. And, you know, hunting is a coalition if they are the 5 males, or even if it's a mother with semi-adult cubs, or they are all still looking out in different directions for not only danger, which would be lions or hyenas, but also looking at where the prey might be. And just think of if this group of cats actually did see prey, they would actually go into a team hunt together, which is pretty spectacular to also watch, because each one of them, when they are team hunting, they all have different jobs that they do. And it's a little bit like a football match in several way that they actually do know their part in bringing down the prey. But the storm that's out there is going to be pretty spectacular. And I'm sure they know that too. And if you see, there's no place for them to hide, really. So they're going to weather out that storm.
Yeah, how do they feel about rain?
Well, I think all cats hate rain. Right. And what they do is they huddle together and they look as miserable as they possibly can, because they are being, you know, they don't like rain, as all cats do, but they actually have a pretty thickened coat that you know, the water doesn't really penetrate them. So, you know, they tuck their heads down and curl up, and then they are usually kind of lick each other off after a rain would occur. So that looks like a pretty big storm coming along, though.
Yeah, for sure. And is it, what about the length of grass? Obviously here, the grass is relatively low, so maybe the wildebeest migration has come through and taken it down. I was having a conversation with someone today, and they were saying they're in an area where the grass is very high right now, and they're not seeing cheetahs. Is that just because they're hidden in the high grass?
Well, they can't. With the high grass, you end up with, you know, the cheetahs can't actually really find their prey as much. And the cheetahs hunt a smaller prey. And so when the grass is that high, the prey that they would be hunting would also have a hard time eating some of that grass. And so you do have the different levels of antelope that come through, or gazelles. And from that, you have the taller grasses. And then as like the zebras and the Cape buffalo might come through, and the wildebeest, then those grasses actually break off. And then you might find the smaller animals like the Thompson's gazelles and the Grant's gazelles that might come in that might be more of the prey for the cheetah. So they all have a hard time. Cheetahs have a hard time hunting in this high grass as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And something else I was reading about today as well is that actually it's somewhere like the Mara, which you think would be a great place for them to be because it's protected. If other predators like lions are doing very well there because they're also protected, then actually that can make it harder for cheetahs, because predator lions are obviously a kind of a threat to cheetahs, aren't they?
Well, and also, I think what we know is that the lions are actually following behind the cheetahs. The cheetahs feed all of the other carnivores. Everybody's watching for the cheetah, because if the cheetah makes a kill, they can be easily chased away from their kill. And then with that, the other predators will come in. So cheetahs lose, 80+% of their kills to all of these other predators. And so they're hunting double time constantly. The lions, can also kill the adult cheetahs, but they also can kill the cubs, as can hyenas, which are some of the bigger problems for the cheetahs out in these protected areas. And that's primarily why cheetahs are found outside of protected areas. The protected areas are protecting these large carnivores that, outside of the protected areas where people are and their livestock, those large carnivores get killed much easier. But the cheetah gets pushed out and tries to maneuver its way through this mosaic of people as well.
Right. And actually, so, I didn't realize the percentage that they lost to other predators was so high. So yeah, that's terrible. I feel so bad for them. How long does it take for a cheetah to recover after a hunt? I've seen them where they're just exhausted, just panting. What's the recovery time to be able to hunt again if you've just had your kill stolen?
Well, they will pant out, breathe out often for 20 to 30 minutes. So they are exhausted if they've gone all out. And they, once they've gone all out like that, the prize probably gone as well. So getting their stocking back up and getting back, to want to go hunt again is a big job. And also you end up, because they hunted dawn and dusk. And so at dawn, if they lose their prey, and then they have to, breathe out and get back onto their feet, it could be too hot for them to hunt again. And then in the evening, it could be too dark for them to hunt again. So there's kind of these windows of time that, we hope the cheetah makes its kill and is able to actually consume. When the cheetah hunts and kills, they consume very rapidly because they have to, because they know that their kill probably will be stolen from them. So they usually go into like the hind leg, eat really fast. That's where most of the meat is. Maybe get into the stomach area and maybe get the liver out. But then they oftentimes get chased off by other predators.
Right.
So a huge number of kills.
Yeah, I've seen a cheetah mother actually who I knew had young cubs, and she actually started to eat an animal that she hadn't properly killed, which I'd never witnessed before. And my guide, Henry Severo, was saying it's because she's worried about the cubs. So, she's trying to just get in there before it gets stolen. So that's something more we think of as like wild dogs that would, not wait for the animal to be dead. But it was quite a surprise to see a cheetah do that.
Wow. And, our tour guides and our photographers can share so much information that they see to conservationist scientists like myself who don't get to sit and watch that as often. And so we're always asking for input. If people see things, to please share so that we can know more, too, about their different behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So, so congratulations to Fred and Rachel. Can you please take us on to the next image?
Oh.
So this is Robert L. Kaiser III, I believe. And yeah, I think the judges just love the colours of this image. And obviously the cubs are adorable. So how old are these cubs, do you think, Laurie?
Now, these guys are probably about 5 months of age. Again, I can't see much of a mantle on the back there. Just looking at the size of them, that's about what I would say. And
they look like they're up to this, Chief, and say that's one of the things that I always, note when I'm watching cheetah cubs, that a cheetah mother must have the patience of a saint.
Yes. They're pretty obnoxious. And just think, because if the mother's around, the cubs want to play. and the mother is trying to hunt, like that picture that we saw earlier on, that, she might be trying to say, hey, if you guys don't be quiet, we're not going to have dinner. And yet she kind of has to keep focused to keep on going. These guys are so playful at this age. All of the play that they do helps them develop their body to be a good hunter. So from not only climbing a tree, but chasing and rolling and being rough with each other. They're constantly, all of their play behavior goes into them learning how to be a good hunter. And the strategies that they have for tripping each other and, their throat bites and things like that. So they learn all about how to be a good hunter from this play that they have when they're growing up.
Right.
But that just staring at us definitely has got a great attitude, don't you think?
Yes, exactly. It's just certainly looking straight over and asserting its presence. It's a wonderful picture, very beautiful.
You probably can see on that picture too that those claws are stuck into that tree, and when they are cubs, their semi-non-retractable claws are much sharper, and so they can hold on a lot better when they're young cubs than when they get older. So oftentimes, even when they're climbing trees, if they go into bigger trees, they can also hurt themselves because they have to get down, and their bones are also very frail. That we do see that some of the cubs also are lost from being a little bit too playful and climbing in their trees. So, being a cub is a hard life.
Yeah, the mortality of cubs is very high, isn't it? How, on average, how many cubs does a mother manage to raise to adulthood? Is that a different?
Well, no, and it all depends again on these super moms, which some of them have been amazing. And those super moms we've seen, if they are good at raising their cubs, quite often their cubs are equally good at raising their cubs. But oftentimes it's been noted to be about 90% infant mortality under the first several months. And that's primarily due to other carnivores, lions or hyenas, eagles. In Namibia, we have baboons that might steal a cub, leopards. And so that mortality as a young cub is very critical. So under the 3-month age period, it's very, very high. Right. So when you see that number, here in Namibia where we don't have the same kind of conflict with the other predators, we've got leopards on our lands. We've got baboons, which take a high toll. Both of them do. We still see about a 50% mortality rate under the first year.
Wow. And it didn't really occur to me that baboons would go for cheetah cubs, but yeah. Wow.
And leopards are horrible. I don't know if they just think that they don't have the right spots or something, but
yeah, it's just instinctive, isn't it, to kill anything that's potentially a rival. For sure. Okay, so we've revealed 8. There are 2 more pictures to reveal, and I'm sure that everyone else is waiting in anticipation. So let me take Bob's name off here, and yeah, Rachel, please, can you take us on to the next one?
Oh, wow.
So,
well,
this is Super Morris with this image, and obviously it's, I don't know how clear it is on people's computers, but this is some very bedraggled cheetahs.
Cheetahs, you can see what they look like. And that looks like a mother with her older cubs. Either that or is it all 3?
I'm not sure. They look the same size to me, I think.
Yeah, I think they must be all 3, adolescents. So at least probably, maybe 15 to 18 months of age. They've been sitting out in the rain, and they look all wet. And that one cat with its eyes closed, the other one's licking the water off. You could just like a typical cat, I hate the water.
Yes.
But in some of these areas where rain is just so important, and that they usually will get the liquid that they need from oftentimes the blood of the animals that they hunt. And so this is an opportunity for them to actually get a nice amount of water off of their siblings or whoever they're licking, whether it might be, maybe a mother with cubs, but they are getting all the water drops off of that. But their coats actually, it doesn't absorb and soak into them. It is on the outside of their coats, but it doesn't soak into their bodies. So they're just licking the water off. But they do look bedraggled, don't they?
Yeah, and so is that primarily while they're doing it to get liquid almost to drink, or is it through affection or a combination of both? Or
no, I think it's more getting it off, and yes, there's the water on there, and so they are getting that as well. They're not hunted if they've got siblings or mother with cubs. They will also lick the blood off the faces as well. So it's social. It's very social for them.
Okay. And it's so beautiful. I have to say, we have a few other rainy shots in the book as well. And for photographers, cheetahs in the rain are just the best, I have to say. It can be a nightmare going out in the rain if you're going to get stuck somewhere. But if you can get through that and to see sights like this is truly beautiful.
Yeah. So. Very much so. And I bet they're purring to each other as well. So, cheetahs are the only big cat that purrs, which many people don't know that. And they don't roar like lions or other big cats. So, and they've got bird-like chirps that they will chirp and they bubble. And so their vocalizations are very interesting. But in this kind of grooming setting, I bet they're all purring to each other as well.
Yeah, I noticed that when I came to the center, actually, and obviously you've got some of the rescue cats there that you can then go and watch being exercised and hearing them purr. And I hadn't really heard cheetahs purr before. I think because I'm normally in a vehicle, and there's other noise going on or things, but the purr is incredibly loud, isn't it?
It's very loud. And usually they'll purr to each other. I mean, if you're out and you only see a single cheetah out on a game drive, it's probably not going to purr to you. But when they are together like something like this, I'm sure they're purring to each other.
Okay.
And it's a loud, deep purr.
Right. That makes sense. Thank you. Okay. So we have one final image to come. And before Rachel flicks onto it, I just want to say again, I'm really sorry if you didn't make it through. It was so difficult for us. There were so many amazing pictures, and we could have done 3 books with all of them, many others that were worthy of going in. And sometimes we just had to select if we had other images that were similar to something we'd already chosen for the book. We needed a variety of images. So please don't be disheartened if you didn't get through. Forgive me. But so, okay, we're going to go on now to the final winning image that's going to go in the book. So, Rachel, drum roll, please take us to that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So this is Vicki Jauron. And actually, this was an image that got shared during the competition when we were doing shares as we went along of just images that caught our eye. But it continued to catch our eye right to the very end. Just this juxtaposition is so unique and special. What do you think of this one, Laurie?
Well, it looks like a painting. It's so amazingly perfect. Can you even just how could you get at that picture? It's just amazing.
Yeah,
it looks like a mother and a male cub, whatever, and just the tails coming out of both sides of the head. I mean, that is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything quite like that. So, yeah,
and the colours are so special as well, isn't it? As you say, and I think the tall grass is what makes it so dreamy as well. So, very special image indeed. Well, that's it. That's our 10. We have already put them on page in the book because book design is going on. We're virtually there with the book. We're just doing all the finishing touches now. And the books will be out in early October. I think that we've shared on Facebook, but maybe Victoria, if you could share again just the link for if anyone wants to pre-order the books. And all of the profits from the books go to projects working to protect cheetahs in the wild, including the very special CCF and Laurie's organisation here. So, yeah, I can't wait to hold this book in my hands. I'm sure you can't either now you've seen these images, Laurie.
Oh, I can't wait. I just, it's so beautiful. The cover of the book, of course, is gorgeous. And I know all the others are going to be, I mean, look at these 10 are just spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have to say, cheetahs are so picturesque. I think it's probably, without doubt, the most beautiful book in the series. So I can't wait to get it out to everyone. So we won't take up any more time of people's evenings, but congratulations to the 10 winners. They will appear, as I said, in Digital Camera magazine tomorrow. And we'll also share in the morning to coincide with that publication coming out, all of the images static. So this was just a sneaky peek for people who wanted to watch the video beforehand. And for the winners who've seen themselves, we'll be in touch in the morning to get the high-res files from you and all the other information we need. So thank you, everyone. And Laurie, if you just hang on, I'm going to end the broadcast and then we can have a quick chat to say goodbye. And yeah, thanks to everyone. Thank you, Rachel, for helping as well. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Come to Namibia and see us sometime.
Yes. Bye-bye.